Okay, today changing subject of a formula. So let's say it's warm up only. So this one, x is equals to 2y minus 3x over 2 minus y. So every time when they ask you to make subject, you always try to make both sides single fraction. This one very straightforward. X, just put x over 1. Then after next, you cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, you have x multiplied with 2 minus y equals to 2y minus 3x. Then we want to make what subject? Y. So before you shift anything, please make sure you rainbow first. Rainbow this out. So 2x minus xy equals to 2y minus 3x. So you want to make y the subject. So all the terms that have y, throw to the left-hand side. All the terms that don't have y, throw to the right-hand side. So minus xy will stay. This one will come minus 2y equals to minus 3x minus 2x. Yeah, right, wrong, you know. Oh, correct? Oh, great. Okay, seems okay, can. Yeah, okay. Yes, correct. Okay, then after that, this one still can simplify because it's like term. So it's minus xy minus 2y equals to minus 5x. But I don't like to have minus, so many minus. Okay, you can only change all to multiply by negative when it is an equation. Remember, it's an equation that you can do that. Now it's an equation. So I times negative 1 throughout. This one become xy. This one become plus 2y. This one become 5x. Then, because I want to make y the subject, you take out common factor y. They haven't yet. So say that. After that, you want to make y subject more easy because it is y multiplied by x plus 2. So it becomes y equals to 5x over x plus 2. Done. Just make sure that your left-hand side is 1y and make sure your right-hand side don't have any y. And that's the answer. That's for question 1. Okay, so now let's see. So same thing, put y over 1, right? Equals to 3x plus 2 z over 9x minus z. So if you notice, my z is, I always have a middle line. Okay, I always, students at my care definitely don't write z this way. Why? Because you imagine a question called 22z. Okay, as you write a few more lines, it becomes 222, right? Or it becomes 2zz or something like that. So it looks so much like a 2. So Teacher Kangie always ask them, your z, must write a middle z, a middle line, okay? To make sure you differentiate that it is really z, okay? Okay, so now cross multiply, you have y rainbow with 9x minus z equals to 3x plus 2z. Okay, rainbow out first. So 9xy minus yz equals to 3x plus 2z. I want to make what's a subject? X a subject. So all the terms that have x to the left-hand side. All the terms don't have x to the right-hand side. So 9xy will remain. This I will bring to the left-hand side. So it becomes minus 3x. 2z will remain. This one minus yz. So bring to the right-hand side become plus yz. Okay, so I'm supposed to take out common factor x. Then I left with 9y minus 3 equals to 2z plus yz. Okay, make x a subject. Remember, this is x multiply. So when it's multiply, you bring to the other side, become divide. So x is equals to 2z plus yz over 9y minus 3. Okay, so just to double check, make sure it's 1x. Okay, right hand side got no x. Then I am correct. So we are done. So this is for question 2. It's similar to question 1. Okay, a lot of students see square root or cube root, then they get panic attack at that. Okay, nothing so scary. Just temporarily treat it just like a bracket. Okay, so both sides single fraction already, right? One side is 1 over d, the other side is 1 over something. So what you do is cross multiply. Okay, so I'm going to cross multiply. So it becomes square root e plus fx cubed equals to d. To so-called get rid of the square root, you square both sides. So you square both sides. Okay, when you square both sides, this one becomes d square, and this one just becomes the inside. So it becomes e plus fx cubed. Then check, they want x is subject. Remember, whatever terms that have x on the left-hand side, whatever doesn't have x, throw to the right-hand side. So fx cubed remain, d square remain. So left with the e, throw to the right-hand side, become minus e. So before we do that, we have an extra f here, right? It's f times x cube. So I'm going to bring the f to the other side. So it becomes d square minus e over f. Okay, then I'm supposed to do x. Cannot be x cubed or 2x or whatsoever. So I need to cube root, right? So x will be equals to cube root d square minus e over f. Okay, now the question is a lot of students ask, do I need to put square root? Sorry, do you need to put plus minus? Okay, take note on this thing. Only when you are doing this number is an even number, then you have to put plus minus. Because let's, for example, at the side, x squared, let's say, equals to 4. I'm going to square root it. Okay, you will have to put plus minus. Why? Because 2 times 2 give you 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 also give you 4. It's even, ma? You understand? So when you square root an even number, you need to have plus minus. But odd, don't have what? Let's take a look. Let's say, for example, x cubed equals to negative 8. Okay? Yeah. So when I'm going to do cube root, okay, it will be just negative 2. You cannot be negative 2 or 2, ma? Because negative 2 times negative 2 give you positive. Positive times negative 2, it give you negative 8. Okay? It doesn't give you positive one. So you don't have a plus minus. You understand? For cube root, odd number, you doesn't have any plus minus. So this is this question. Okay, so now this one. Again, got square root, right? Again, okay, for this case is the square root is already there. So straight away, I go and square both sides. I write down the question first. So straight away, you square both sides. So put like that, square both sides. So when you square both sides, the left-hand side, make sure that the top and the bottom both are square. So it becomes a square over 9. And this one is just become the inside. Okay, actually both sides already single fraction. So all you need to do is just cross multiply. Okay, cross multiply. So it becomes a square b minus 1 equals to 9b plus 1. Okay, rainbow. So it becomes a square b minus a square equals to 9b plus 9. Check what they want. They want to make b the subject, right? So all the terms with b throw to the left-hand side. So a square b will remain. These will bring over to the other side, become minus 9b. The 9 will remain on the right-hand side. This one will throw to the right-hand side, become plus a square. So I'm going to take out common factor b. So take out b, you have a square minus 9. 9 plus a square. So after that, again, this is b multiply. So b equals to 9 plus a square over a square minus 9. Okay, this question got a, got 9. And you know that about 9, if your tail is too short, it becomes like an a. So if you notice, I purposely have to write my 9 with a very long tail so that I have to differentiate between the 9 and the a. So just to double check, make sure that left-hand side is b, single b, and right-hand side doesn't have any b. And just check that I'm making b subject, yes, and we are done. Okay, so this is for question 4. Okay, given that a equals to 1 over b minus c, then they say, b equals to d squared minus 1. Then they tell me, c equals to 1 plus d. Then they say, express a in terms of d. Okay, a long story. So step by step. So your task is to make a in terms of d. That means the left-hand side must be a, then the right-hand side must be just d, right? So let's take a look. So my b, they give me in terms of d. My c, they give me in terms of d. So in other words, okay, they're asking you to change the b to become d, change the c to become d. So I'm going to do that. Oh, this one actually a bit of algebraic fraction. Okay, so a equals to, I'm going to replace 1 over b. B is here. So I'm going to replace it with d squared minus 1. Okay, minus 1 over c. And my c over here, they say is 1 plus d. So you just put 1 plus d. Okay, so what you need to do is, remember just now I say, the rule is you need to make both sides single fraction, then you can cross multiply. The bad news is now the right-hand side is not single fraction. So you need to make it into a single fraction. So how you're going to do that is, okay, I'm going to swap this one first. So this one will be 1, same. This one, write it as d plus 1. Okay, every time you want to combine into a single fraction, look at the denominator. Okay, if you have a quadratic, look at this. This is a quadratic. When it's a quadratic, you have to ask yourself, how are you going to factorize it? Okay, so factorization actually only have 4 methods. You have taking out common factor. That's what everyone knows about that. You have grouping terms. You have the cross method, and the last one, which is the a squared minus b squared, which is the most popular one. So the a square minus b square, when you factorize, it is actually a plus b, a minus b. Okay, this is a very important factorization method. Over here, you see d square plus minus 1, right? So it means that my denominator, this one I can write it as d plus 1, d minus 1. This one you can put in one bracket. Then you can see that, oh, so common denominator is actually d plus 1, d minus 1. So I know my d side, I need to multiply with d minus 1. So a is equals to this one, no change, no change. This one, you put it as d minus 1, d plus 1, and d minus 1. That means I multiply by d minus 1 on the top at the bottom. That's called changing it to an equivalent fraction. Then you can see that, oh, so common denominator already. So a will be equals to 1 minus d minus 1 over d plus 1 and d minus 1. So what's the common mistake? Common mistake is students do this. They don't put the bracket. They put like that, right? They never put the bracket. And then after that, what else? So this one, they also never put bracket. So if they never do bracket, then you'll be wrong. Why? Because the behind sign is wrong. So you must always remember when you're subtracting algebraic fraction, okay, use a bracket. It's free. Why don't use? Correct now? Okay, you put a bracket already because you're supposed to rainbow it out. So it becomes a over 1 equals to 1 minus d plus 1. Because minus times minus give you plus 1. Okay, this is the common mistake that students always make. Okay, then after that over d plus 1 and d minus 1. So let's simplify the top part. Okay, this one a over 1, nothing much. 1 plus 1 is 2, so it's 2 minus d over d plus 1 and d minus 1. Okay, so now happily, both sides are single fraction mark. Now cross multiply. So I'm going to cross multiply a rainbow with d plus 1 and d minus 1 equals to 2 minus d. Let's see what they want first. They want a in terms of d, right? So in this situation, I will not go and rainbow this one. Why? Because I have a multiplied by this whole thing, right? And this whole thing inside doesn't have any a. So if it doesn't have any a, actually I don't have to go and rainbow it. Because I can just do a equals to 2 minus d, the whole thing over a, which actually this one already, Oh, that means I don't even have to cross multiply. So actually, okay, wait, that means I don't even need to do this step. Because I already have a on the left-hand side, because my objective is what? A in terms of d. My a is already on the left-hand side. My right-hand side, no d. Okay? Sorry, no a. If only your right-hand side got a, okay, then yes, you cross multiply, you have to open out and then bring left, bring right. But now no need, because my right-hand side no d, no a, my left-hand side is 1a. And actually, this is my final answer. Right, easy? Can? All good?
Yes.
So actually, after you see so few times, changing subject is just nothing. Okay, it's just single fraction cross multiply. You see, I keep repeating the same thing. I repeat until my students see already also know how to do. Okay, so k over 1 equals to h g plus k and g minus k over 2g squared. They want to make g the subject. Okay, so what I need to do is, okay, let's cross multiply first. So I have k 2kg squared equals to h g plus k and g minus k. If you notice, this is the a plus b, a minus b. Yes, you can do the normal rainbow, it doesn't matter. Because even after you do the normal rainbow, it will still end up become g squared minus k squared. Okay, the formula a squared minus b squared is only useful for the factorization. It's not useful for the so-called expansion, because expansion, I can just do the normal rainbow and I simplify, I will still get my a squared minus b squared. So over here, it will be 2kg squared equals to h g squared minus k squared. Okay, I'm supposed to make g the subject, right? So as you can see, a lot of g got here got g also, right? So what I need to do, I have to rainbow in this case. So it will be 2kg squared equals to hg squared minus hk squared. And what do we do? All the terms that have g throw to the left-hand side. 2kg squared minus hg squared equals to negative hk squared. I see the negative, I find it very disgusting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by negative 1 throughout. Since this one become positive, I just shift it to in front. This one become minus 2kg squared. Then now this one become positive. I do that only because after I multiply, it look nicer. If I multiply already still got all negative, then don't bother to go and multiply. You understand? So then after that, I'm going to take out common factor. Alamak, Forget what we did on G. So I'm going to take out common factor G squared. Then become H minus 2K equals to HK squared. So G squared will be equals to HK squared over H minus 2K. And don't stop there because you're supposed to have only one G. You cannot have G squared. So this time around, you need to square root. What is missing? What missing? What is missing? Is that my final answer?
The plus minus.
Yeah, because it's even number. So remember to put plus minus. Okay, if you never put a plus minus, they minus you 1 mark. Imagine you do so many steps only, then the last step you never put minus mark. Oh my God, right? Okay, plus minus. So that's for question 6. Okay, so same thing, map scale. I always like to explain to my students. Okay, why is it that we have this thing called map scale? Okay, take a very simple one. Let's say even in Singapore, even from let's say Ang Mo Kio to Jurong. Okay, in Singapore very small, only like few km, right? But although it's so small, okay, in actual fact you also cannot draw out the whole, like represent the km on the A4 size paper, for example, or even big paper also cannot. It's too small to put it in. So we need a scale. Okay, so usually on the map, okay, usually at the corner, okay, they will have this thing called the map scale, and they will not give 1 cm is to something. They will put something like that. Okay, so on the bottom right, usually you will see 1 is to 150,000. So they are trying to tell you, oh, on this map that you see, okay, 1 cm will represent how many cm? Okay, so by default, this is the map, this is the actual. It's always map is to actual, and it's always 1 cm represent 150,000 cm. By default, it is always cm. Okay, then the next thing is we see they ask us to find actual distance, and the actual distance is in km. So before you apply to find out what's the actual, you always change the actual right hand side to the km first. So over here. So a lot of times common mistake is students don't know how to change the cm to km. Okay, so you change step by step. So you ask yourself, cm, how many cm is 1 meter? So over here, I know that 100 cm we know is equals to 1 meter. So when you want to change to cm to meter, 100 how to become 1? You divide by 100, right? And then after that, you ask yourself, okay, how many meter is 1 km? So we know that 1,000 meter is equals to 1 km. So from meter to km, you divide by 1,000. So it means that from cm, you want to change to km, you divide by 100, then you divide by 1,000. In other words, you divide by 50. Right now. So when you divide by 50, panic, press my calculator. Okay, although I very kiasu, I scared later I miss out. So I must press calculator. Okay, 50. So it means it's 1 cm will represent 1.5 km. Then it means that, on the graph, if you use your ruler and measure 1 cm, it will represent the actual 1.5 km. So that is what it means, okay? Then now they tell you, okay, this one, Changi Airport at the city center, on the map is 5.5 cm. So what is the actual? So all you need to do is you put the 5.5 cm over here. Okay, you ask yourself, 1 times what give you 5.5? Of course, this one very straightforward. It's just multiply by 5.5. So this side you also multiply by 5.5. So you will take 1.5 multiplied by 5.5. Okay, 1.5 multiplied by 5.5. Okay, so it becomes 8.25 km. Okay, so we are done on the first part. So that means the actual is 8.25 km. Okay, that's for part A. Okay, part B. Now, okay, map scale, the common mistake is students divide wrongly. This is the first common mistake. Then after that, most of them don't know how to do the area scale. Okay, they will like hang at the area scale. So nothing much to be scared of. Let's see. Okay, they say that the Changi Airport covers an area of 15 km square. So when you see it's km square, of course that we know that it's the actual area. So you are supposed to find out what's the map area. So we're going to use this part. But take note that this is the length scale. So I just bring it down. 1 cm is to 1.5 km. It's the length scale. So I'm going to change it to area scale. So what do? I square both sides. Okay, and 1 times 1 is just 1 cm square. Then you square this one. Of course, press calculator. I will get 2.25 km square. Okay, so this is the map scale. So now I'm ready. It means that on the map, when I measure 1 cm square, it represents 2.25 km square. So over here, this is given 15 km square, and this is actual. So I must put it at the actual side. So that means it's 15 km square. So you need to ask yourself, 2.25 multiplied by what? Give you 15. So what you need to do is you have to take 15 divided by 2.25. And you get a funny number, it's okay. Just put it as a mixed number. So I have to multiply by 6 whole 2/3. So this side also do the same thing. So it means that answer is 6 whole 2/3 cm square. Ta-da! So this is the map area that represent the actual area of 15 km square. All good? This is just warm up. Okay, a map is drawn to a scale of 5 cm to 1 km. 2 island resorts are located 2.5 km apart. Calculate in cm their distance apart. So it's actually quite same to this one. The only difference is the initial scale that they give us is not 1:2 something. So we still write 5 cm is represent 1 km. So usually what I do is I always change my left hand side to 1 cm. So I divide by 5. So it will be 1 cm will represent, okay, 1 divided by 5 will be 0.2. So it means 1.1 cm represents 0.2 km. Then now I'm ready. So take a look. They say this one is km. That means this is actual. I'm going to put it on the right hand side. Then again, you have to find out. So you take 2.5 divide by 0.2. And it means that I have to multiply by 12.5. So that means this side is the same thing. So this will be 12.5 cm. So this is the answer on the left for this one. Okay. Next, B. On the map, a lagoon has an area. Same thing. So this time around, this is the map area. Then you have to find the km square. So you see, just now say this one quite similar. The only thing is like I mentioned, the first part is wrong. Not the same. So always take this one. Why is it that I always use this one? Because the actual is usually km square. Okay, if I'm going to take, in just like remember the question 1, if I'm going to take the 150,000, I go and square it, I got to write so many zeros. Okay, it's waste time. That few seconds, you can do another question already. So I'm going to take 1 cm, 0.2 km, and then after that, you got to square both sides. Square both sides. So this one definitely is 1 cm square. And then 0.2, you square it, you'll get 0.04. Then after that, this one on the left-hand side. This one easy, just times 20. And straight away you get the answer, which is 0.8 km square. Done. Okay. This is still warm up. Okay. Later the tough part is when they change map. Okay. Okay. So they say that 1 cm on a map represent 300 meters. So you will say 1 cm represent 300 meters. A triangle plot of land is represented by blah, blah, blah. Find the actual parameter in meters. So since they say actual is in meters, I don't change this to km. I keep it as meter. Okay. So then you look at your land. This is on the map. So you want to calculate the parameter, you have to find, oh, so 4.5 plus 8.5 and 5. So I put right here, 8.5 plus 4.5 plus 5. Okay, of the land. Your land is a triangle, which is shaded. So you will get 18. So this is the map. So this one on the left-hand side. Times 18, so times 300. So I get 5400 meter, and that's it. Straightforward. Next, the area. So they say, oh, find the actual area of this plot. This is the map. So this is a triangle. So of course we use half times base times height. So this is the base, and this is the height, 4. So you will take half times 4.5 times 4, you will get 9. So it's 9 cm square. So again, we have to use this square both sides. So I get 1 cm square represent 300 times 300. So I don't change this to km. Why? Take a look over here. They say the hectares later is meter square. So that means my right hand side should just remain as meter. So now this one becomes 90,000 meter square. Okay. So and this one is 9. This is the area scale. My map area is 9 cm squared. So put it this side, times 9. So I get 810,000 meters squared. Then you need to change to hectare. And we know 10,000 is 1 hectare. Simple, just take 81, this one, divided by 10,000. And you get 81 H8 hectare. And that's it. That's for question 3. Wow. I know why I put this question here, because this time around is again different from the top. The top, they give me like maybe 1 cm represent 1 or 5 cm represent 1. But this is tell you the 300 cm square represent 12 km square. Okay, so I can tell you a lot of students start at this question. They will put as decimal because you see, remember just now length scale, you change to area scale, you always square both sides. So a lot of students say, oh, area scale, I want to change back to length scale, I square root both sides. Yes, you're not wrong. But the question is, you cannot square root 300. Right? Then how? Okay. So the trick is always make your left-hand side to become 1 cm square. So I know I have to divide by 300. No need to say. Okay. So of course, this side is definitely 1 cm square. So you just take 12 divided by 300. It will give me 0.04 km square. So now we are ready. Every time it's like that one. The question is like that one. The question now, after you change the left-hand side to 1 cm square, the right-hand side definitely is a perfect square. Perfect square is what? Means are numbers that you can square root nicely. So now we're going to square root both sides. So square root both sides, I get 1 cm. Okay, square root both sides. Okay, I will get 0.2. So now you see, I get my length scale. But because map scale by default on the map is always cm is to cm. So you need to change the right-hand side to cm. So remember just now I said our cm change to km is you divide by 50 ma. So the km change to cm is you times 50. Okay, so 1 cm 0.2 multiplied by 50, you will get 20,000. And take note that on the map, you don't put the cm. So you will have to say, oh, so therefore it's 1 is to 20,000. And they say P, right? So therefore my P is equals to 20,000. Done. Okay, so just remember that don't panic when you cannot square root. A lot of students cannot square root, they just square root, And then after that, when you square root 300, right? They square root 300 give you 17.3205 right? Then other student continue to put 17.32 cm square or cm law, and then they continue to do so that's definitely wrong. So just remember that always change it to 1 cm square. Automatically, the right-hand side, it's always a perfect square. Then you square root, then it becomes length scale. Easy. Okay, so that's for 4A. Now they ask you find the actual distance for 4 cm. Easy already. Then they say what? In km, right? So of course, I'm going to use this one. Okay, so you will say times 4. So it becomes 4 cm and 0.8 km. So very straightforward. Okay, part C, area scale. Nothing so scary. Same thing, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to change it to area scale. So again, square both sides. Actually, no need. I already have this one, area scale. I can use this one already. So straight away, I use 1 cm square represents 0.04 km square. And this one is on the map. So this one on the left-hand side. So this one times 10.25 ma. So just take 0.04 multiplied by 10.25. And you get, I pressed wrong number. 0.04 multiplied by 10.25. So it's 0.41 km square. And this is the answer. Okay? Okay, question 5 for the map scale. Okay, 1 cm represent actual 4 km on the map. It's given on the map, the distance between the two police stations is 0.8. The area of the forest is 30 cm square. Okay. Okay, I think part A is quite easy. Only part B. Okay, let's see. So first you will write 1 cm represent 4 km. This is the length scale. This is the pulley, so I just put 0.8 cm. This one very straightforward, just times 0.8. 4 times 0.8, you just get 3.2 km. But take note, they want the answer in meter. So you need to change your km to meter. You have to multiply by 1,000. And that's why you get 3200 meter. Part B is say that, oh, the forest, the map is 30 cm square. They want you to find the actual area. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to square both sides. So I will get 1 cm square represents 16 km square. Check, 30 cm square is the map. So this one's supposed to be on the left-hand side. So just 16 times 30, very straightforward, and you will get 480. So it's 480 km square. And you're done for part 2. Okay, so now this is another question whereby they say, oh, the scale of another map is 1:5K. They say the area of the forest, same forest, on the map is 19.2 cm square. They ask you to find the value of K. Every time they ask you this question, you visualize this way. You have the first map. Your first map, the scale is 1 cm square is to 16 km square. Okay. Then after that, maybe say, oh, maybe after 10 years already, the maps spoiled already. You need to change another map. Then this time around, when you change the other map, you decided, okay, I want to use another map scale. Yes, I change another map scale. The scale, you want to change what scale also can. Doesn't matter. But the actual will never change, right? The size of the forest after 10 years will not change, ma. I mean, technically speaking, will not change. Don't talk about the minus a bit here and there. So the area of the actual area will not change. So it means that what will not change? This 480 km square will remain stagnant. So what they're trying to say is on the second map, my actual is 480 km square, cannot run away. Now this time around on the second map, we use 19.2 cm square to represent it. So it means that, oh, so 480 km square is 19.2 cm square. Then you are given this. So this is exactly like just now that question, whereby my left-hand side is 300 square, remember? So I need to square root both sides, but I have to change my left-hand side to become what? Nigel?
Uh,
I have to change my left side to become?
cm.
Yes, I need to change to cm, but how? Now currently it's 19.2 cm square.
Square root.
Can I square root 19.2? Let me check. Cannot, I get 4.38. How?
Oh, divide both sides by 19.2, is it? Then
yes, correct.
Square root.
Yes, change it to 1 cm square. Good. So 480 divided by 19.2. See, I tell you already, every time we do that, it become a perfect square one. The question always designed this way, I tell you. Okay, then after that, now you can square root. So you square root 1 cm square, it becomes 1 cm. Square root 25 will just become 5 km. Then by default, because they asked me, they say the map scale is 1:5K. By default, both sides must be cm. So I just need to change this to cm. So 1 cm represents 5, put 50. And then remove the cm if it's the m1 is 2. Like that. Okay, and then after that, they say 5K. So you're supposed to find what is K, Then you say, oh, so therefore 5K equals to this one. And then K will be equals to this. And you're done. Okay? Back.
Okay.
Okay, this is 3 map. Map P use 5 cm represent 9. Map Q, 3 cm represent 4.5. Map R, blah, blah, blah. So find the representative fraction, okay? So suddenly a lot of students see this word, then they start, what does that mean? Actually, it's nothing much. You see, it's just simply put in a fraction form. Usually, you will see 1:50,000. 1 something. So it's the same thing. If I say I want a representative fraction, it means you just put 1/50,000. That's all. Nothing special. So they want map P. So let's take a look. Map P. So 5 cm represent 9 km. Straightforward. Change to 1 cm first. So 9 divided by 5. I get 1.8 km. You hold on. Okay, so can you hear me? Okay?
Yeah.
Can Okay. Okay, so 1 cm represent 1.8 km. So I need to change this to cm. So same thing, 1.8 multiplied by 5, 0. I will have 1 cm is 180,000. So remove the cm, then put it in the fraction form, and you will have 1/180,000. So that's the answer for part A. So now let's take a look at part B. They said find the actual distance in km between town A and town B. This time around, they use map P and then 8.5 and same map. So 8.5 cm. Easy lah. I use this one. Multiply by 8.5 cm. So just take 1.8 multiply by 8.5. And I get 15.3 km. And that's the answer for part B. This is still quite straightforward. Now let's take a look at part C. Now they say the dimension of a plot of the land on the map P is 8 by 3 cm. Okay, a rectangular plot, 8 cm and then 3 cm. Okay, they ask you find the parameter of this plot of land on map Q. You must take note, you have to be very clear that this represent 8 cm and 3 cm, it represent on the map P. And on the map will change according to what map scale we use. The only thing that's unchanged is the actual, okay? So that means I need to find out what is my actual length and actual breadth. So go to map P, which is this one. Am I going to put km? Okay, never mind. So here, so what I'm going to do is, map P is 1 cm is to 1.8 km. Let's find out 8 cm. So you will take 1.8 multiply by 8 and you get 14.4 km. So that means put bracket lah. This one, the length is actual. The breadth is 3 cm. So let's find 3 cm also. So 1.8 multiplied by 3, you get 5.4. So put bracket. Actual will not change. So now you go back to here. You want to use map Q. They want parameter. Okay, so let's find the parameter. So you can take 14.4 times 2 plus 5.4 times 2. So you have 14.4 times 2 plus 5.4 times 2. And I get 39.6 km. So this is the actual parameter. And now I need to use map Q to represent. So let's go to map Q. 3 cm represent 4.5 km. So 3 cm represent 4.5 km. So this actual will not change. Put it on the right hand side. So you have to key calculator 39.6 divide by 4.5. Then you will know that, I need to multiply by 8.8. So it becomes, for this case, it's just 3 times 8.8. So it's 26.4 cm. And this is the answer. Okay. Then now they say, they want you to find the area of the plot of the land on map area this time. So always the actual will not change. So always take the actual to go and find what is the area, actual area. So I'm going to take 14.4 multiplied by 5.4. So 14.4 times 5.4, I get 77.76 km squared. This is the actual area. This time around, I'm going to use map area for the area. So what do? I have to take 6 cm represent 8 km. Okay, always change to 1 cm so that it's easier for us. Divide by 6, I get 1 cm. 8 divided by 6, I get a very disgusting number. Never mind, we just put mixed number. 1 whole 1 over 3 km. Don't forget that this is only the length scale. You are supposed to square both sides. So I have 1 cm square, and then this one I square it. I get funny number again. It's fine. Just put 17 over 9 km square. Actual area will not change. So actual area put here 77.76 km square. Again, what times this? Give me this. I'm going to take 77.76 divided by 1 whole 7 over 9. And I get multiply by 43.74. So this side also the same thing. So 43.74 cm squared. Ta-da! So answer is 43.74. Oh, so small. Like that cannot. Okay. So in this question, you need to be very clear that keep changing map is okay. Okay, you take the correct map, but when you're using the reference, you always use the actual to put it to the right hand side to find the map depending on which map you're going to use. All good?
Yeah.
Can